Gorgeous. So appreciate you tuning in today on the podcast that empowers women for life and so much more than that. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. I so appreciate you being here. Today, I'm really looking forward to this because we're moving into part 2 of the topic around money and how to ditch your negative vibes around money for good and feel great about making money, not evil. And this follows on from last week's question from one of our ladies inside the select community, Tamara, who had that question. Now, the Good Day Gorgeous podcast is where you are going to get real, raw, and truly relatable stories, answers, insights, ideas, tools, and proven life success strategies and steps that can help you overcome your frustrations and go on to create a life that you truly love, no matter who you are or where you have been. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson. I am a best-selling author, inspirational speaker, a crazy entrepreneur, and a world-leading wealth and lifestyle coach for women. And to find out how I can help you gain the confidence and the clarity to design and live your dream life through my select mentoring and my 7-step process for the Live Now formula, please visit gdaygorgeous.com or click the link on the notes below. Okay, gorgeous, let's dive deep in today's podcast. You will need to have your journal because I am going to ask many questions that are thought-provoking around your financial future and hopefully your financial freedom. Let's get into it. Good morning, gorgeous butterflies. Welcome back to the podcast and Australia. It is good to be home for this week's live podcast, part 2 on how to ditch your negative vibes around money for good. Talking about money, it seems to be everyone's favorite subject. Lovely to have me back. Thank you. It is fantastic to be back. Been away for nearly 3 weeks. Floating around the Caribbean, which is not so bad. So ladies, today we are going to go, as I said, into part 2, how to ditch negative vibes around money. You will definitely need your journal today because I am going to be asking a series of questions around money that I would really love for you to write down and ponder on after this podcast, because money is one of these subjects that people want to know about. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants to be financially free. And yet most people don't sit and ask the hard questions. They don't think about their money. They just hope and pray that one day it is going to show up and their life will be fabulous right up until they, pass on from this physical experience, which is not the case. You really need to think about it. And so today I'm going to jump into a bunch of questions. And so, ladies, I'm not going to wait around. I am going to get into it. Last week's podcast, the last podcast that we covered, part 1 of this, was we talked about habits and fears and your language around money and your actions. And we talked about the different language of the rich versus the poor and which bucket you sit in. Hopefully you've listened to part 1. There is going to be 3 parts to this money podcast because it's, as I said, it's a huge subject. And if you're brand new to this podcast, welcome. But not many people really get down to the nuts and bolts on financial freedom and what it actually takes, especially with the thinking and the planning. And more important on top of that is your feelings around money really will make or break your opportunity of being financially free or financially broke for the rest of your life. Morning, sis. Great to see you here. So I'm going to jump straight into it, ladies. And as I said last week, we talked about your financial mind garden. Is it full of weeds or flowers when it comes to money? So your thoughts create your feelings create your words create your actions create your destiny or your results. Now, here's the thing, the most important thing that people don't understand is that your thought is the feeling. So thoughts are feelings, but the feeling is the vibration that you emit into the ether. And so remember, your point of attraction for anything in this universe depends on the vibration, on your vibration, your point of attraction. So most people don't understand that their inner feelings, their inner most dominant thoughts actually become their outer tangible result. And that's where most people get confused. Most people think that they can just grab any opportunity out there, any money-making opportunity, jump in the driver's seat and make money, become financially free. The issue is if you have stinking thinking around money, it doesn't matter what vehicle you jump into, you'll probably have the same result. You'll end up frustrated. It won't work for you. You'll start pointing the finger and go, what happened to me? Why are they successful and I'm not successful? Because it all comes down to the way you think and feel about money. And so the question that I posed on last week's podcast is your conditioning serving or killing your chance of financial freedom? And that really goes back to your childhood, what you saw, what you experienced, and what you heard as a child growing up. Your environment, how are your parents around money, your peers around money? What did you learn about money? Were you taught that it was great and it could do great things, or were you taught that it was evil? And that's where this first question sort of came from for one of our ladies. I think it's Tamara inside our community asked, my parents now have taught me that money's bad and they've ended up broke, unhappy in their 60s. And I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel good about making money, not evil. And I think, that's the outcome that most people want. Here's something that I do want to share. Most people say, why am I so negative around money? Where do my negative vibes, sometimes stem from? I can't remember. Here's a little stat that I used to teach when I was on stage many years ago in the Wealth Creation Seminar business, that I think these numbers are fairly close, but these are the stats that we used to reveal that by the time you're 17 years of age, you've heard the words yes around 5,000 times, but you've heard the word no more than 150,000 times. And so it's highly likely that we often have these negative, no, you can't have that. No, that's not for you. No, we can't afford that. And it's just ingrained into our psyche from such a young age. You constantly ask yourself when you have a little child, count the amount of times you go no to a little child, or, even to yourself, no, I can't have that. No, I'm not worthy. No, I can't afford that. No, that will never be me. No, I'm not smart enough to start a business. Oh, I'm not good enough to create wealth in my life. And, this word that over time becomes so ingrained before we even think about whether or not the idea is going to serve us or set us free, we're constantly just instantly saying no. And so I want you to think about this. Ask yourself, is this me? Give me a sign here, ladies, a love heart or a thumbs up if you know that you're one of these people. And, I'm certainly guilty of it, and I've really got to catch myself consciously because it's so ingrained in my subconscious that sometimes I say no to myself before I've even given myself an opportunity to think it through. Does it even make sense that I'm saying no before I've looked at something? Yes, here they all come. Love hearts and thumbs up. I'm not in the boat alone here. And again, if you're watching this podcast and you're brand new, I'd love you, to sit in my seat or, jump into this story and imagine yourself with these questions that I'm about to put forward for you ladies in here. Jot them down as fast as you can. And then after this podcast, go back over these questions, because these are the questions that I have gone through myself personally over the past 20 years to create financial success for myself in my life, and create this very, very healthy feeling, or these healthy feelings and emotions around the concept of making money, not feeling evil about it, but feeling good, because, a belief is just a thought that you have over and over again. And you've got to ask yourself the question, do my beliefs serve me? Are they taking me closer to my dream outcome, or further away. And so in today's podcast, part 2, I really want to delve into the questions that help you become aware of your perceptions and your meanings around the topic of money and making money. Good morning, Helen. It's fabulous to see you here, girlfriend. And so, ladies, please have your journal ready. Hope you've got a nice cup of tea, or maybe you might need a glass of vodka after this. Because I'm going to ask questions. I am going to speak fast. We've got about 30 minutes left here, and I'm going to speak fast. But these are the questions. Not all of the questions, but many of the questions that can help set you up for a financial future that is more pleasing than a financial future of disaster, misery, poverty, anger, jealousy, resentment, all the negative feelings that we want to avoid around money. Okay, so ladies, have your pen ready because I'm about to start asking questions. First of all, the very first question that I would ask you, that I would hope that you would know off the top of your head, is what is your net worth? Now, your net worth are your assets minus your liabilities, okay? Now, liabilities is your house, your cars, anything you are in debt for, all of your credit cards, anything, school fees, HECS fees, anything that you own. You have everything, your assets minus your liabilities will give you your net worth. What is that? Just write it down. If you don't know, you can do this after the podcast today. Then the second question I want to ask you to write this down. What is your debt? How much exactly do you owe out there in the marketplace? So just write down debt carrying. Just write that down. Sorry, all these little messages are coming in. You need to know what your debt ratio is so that you are aware of it, you can track it, and you can pay it down as fast as you possibly can. Now, next question. Do you have any passive income streams? That is an asset that's paying you. Now, that could be in the form of a property, a business, stocks and bonds, or anything like that, where you don't physically have to show up day in, day out, but you're getting little streams of income, or there could be massive streams of income. But do you have any? So just write that down. Passive income, question mark. Now, do you get paid by the hour or by the value and the results that you bring to the marketplace? Now, if you have a job or a career, then I say, and you love it, that is fantastic. This is not about getting you to quit your job or your career and go out and start a business. There are many people that are not equipped or have the right mindset or the desire, the intrinsic desire to run a business. If you love your job or career, that is fantastic, but you still need to know, do you get paid by the hour? And if so, is there a way that you can get paid by value or results that you can bring to a company or outside the company? I mean, there's no, the question I would ask is, do you have a ceiling on your income? Because if you have a ceiling on your income, that is going to be your biggest hurdle to creating financial freedom. Okay. If you have no opportunity, now this is all in your head anyway, this is not even true because anybody can go out and make money. But if you have a ceiling on your income, that is going to be your biggest burden. You need to think about how you can bring value to the marketplace, value to your job or your career, and create more streams of income if you want to be financially independent. Now, most people say they do. 99.9% of people would put their hand up if I said, who wants to be financially independent? Then if I said, well, who is financially independent or who is on their way, most people put their hands down because they're not asking these questions. They're not delving deep into their psyche and understanding the principles of making money, let alone what goes behind that mentally and emotionally. Really dissolving and getting rid of old beliefs that will never allow you to become financially independent or wealthy in all areas of life. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, money's not important, I don't believe it for a second, and it would probably mean that you're broke. Now, I don't mean to sound like a smart aleck. It's not my style, but most people that say money is not important either don't have any, and they're usually broke and really struggling to make ends meet. Because I know from my own experience that money changes lives, not only yours and your families for health reasons, but the charity work that you can do with it, you can really enhance other people's lives and do things that are far greater than just taking care of self. And I always say, if you haven't got money up there on your values list, then it's selfish in a way, because some people say to me, well, I'm just going to take care of myself. I haven't got time to think about and worry about other people. And, here's the thing. I believe that every human being on this planet, including you, I'm talking to you, is here for a reason. We all have our intrinsic values, our gifts and our talents, and a vision and a mission that we are meant to share with other people. And sometimes that takes money. And I know in my own life that, with being able to give to charities that we choose to give to, family and others that we've been able to help, it certainly takes away a lot of the pain. We can pay the bills on time. We can live a lifestyle that we choose. We have more choice and more freedom. Money for me is up there with oxygen. Now, for some of you, money will not be up there with oxygen, but there are certainly ways that you can link making money to your own intrinsic values. And we'll talk about more on that later. Good morning for all of you who have joined me on this podcast. I am speaking fast today. It is a hot topic around money. It's an emotional topic for many people. Many people just cannot control their emotions when it comes to money. But today I am asking a series of questions that I want you to write down as fast as you can in your journal and go away and think about these questions and answer them in detail when I'm finished. So ladies, give me a sign here if you are keeping up with me and you are hot on this topic of money and you want more of these hot questions to help you become financially free. So the next question I want to ask is, how many hours a week are you working in your job, your career, or your business? All of us have 24 hours a day, yet most people will spend 4 to 5 hours. Here come the love hearts. Goody, goody. I'm speaking fast today, girls. Most people spend 4 to 5 hours a day watching TV, wasting time, hanging out with people that haven't even, just wasting time really. I'm not saying hanging out with people is wasting time, but really have got no plan for the day and the day just takes over. We all have 24 hours in the day, and you've got to ask yourself, after my 8 hours of working in my job or career, what am I doing with my time? Am I thinking about my financial destiny? Am I working on myself? Am I changing my mindset so that I can find a way to bring value to the market, bring results for other people so that my worth goes up? Now, when your worth goes up, your self-worth goes up, I'm saying, and so does your net worth, because you will be paid and make money in exact proportion to the value that you bring to the marketplace. Really important to understand. So, how many income streams do you have coming into your home? Now, some of you may be single, some of you are in a relationship. The question I have for you, how many income streams? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 5? Just know the number. Next question. Who in your home is in charge of the money? And what is your interest level in understanding where the money goes? Do you have a say where the money goes? So the money comes into the home each week. How does it get divvied out? Where does it go? Who's looking after the money? Is it you? Is it your partner? Is it both of you? Is it nobody? Super important question, because money flows to those who appreciate it the most, who understand it the most, and have a plan for it. Please write that down. That is gold. This podcast is going to be extremely valuable for those of you who really, really get that making money and having a good feeling about becoming financially independent it will change not only your life, but your family's and so many other people's lives. And these are the questions that you must know the answers to. And so if you don't have a say on what happens to your money each week when it comes in, because it's very common for women, and I'm certainly been in this boat, so I'm not pointing the finger, I'm not judging anybody, I've been there too, that sometimes when the money comes in, I've just let my partner take care of it and I do other things. I learnt years ago that even though my husband, Matt, does take care of a lot of our finances, I know where the money's going. I know where it is. I know where it's invested. I know the returns on it. I know how much money, how much net worth we have. You've got to be aware of that. And the next thing I'd say is, if you don't have a say in it or you don't know where it's going, what are you going to do about it? What can you start today, or what can you change today that you know what's happening to your money each and every week? Next question, do you have separate bank accounts or joint bank accounts? Some people like to have a separate bank account, even if they're in a relationship. I don't, and it's just my personal choice. Matt and I have everything together, but there are many people who love to have their own separate, what we call fun account. And so these are just questions for you to ponder on. If you've got no control over your money, who has got control over it? And when you don't have control over your own finances, then you'll probably feel out of control in most areas of your life. And when you feel out of control, it keeps you vulnerable. It keeps you feeling like an underdog. It sometimes makes you feel desperate. It certainly makes you feel lack. It certainly sometimes makes you feel even hopeless about the future, because you're asking yourself, well, where's the money going to come from? I want to have send my kids to a great school. I want to go on a holiday once or twice a year. I want to have more choice in my life. I want better health. I want better insurance. But if you don't have control over the money, you don't know where it is, that will be a cause of future frustration, if not now, niggling away inside of you. I mean, the question is, how many of you have ever laid awake at night worrying yourself into a knot, feeling sick in the stomach, worrying over money? Give me a sign if you have had that feeling, because I know I certainly have, and I know how debilitating it is and how much it can really have an effect on your health. So who has laid there worrying about money at night, asking yourself, oh my God, how am I going to make ends meet? Where has my money gone? I don't even know what I do with it every week. So quite a few of you. I think most of us have laid there at night feeling that way sometimes. Now, next question. Financial goals written out. Do you have your financial goals and dreams written out in crystal clear format? What do you want for your financial future? Now, most people will say, I want to be financially free, I want independence, I want more choice. But what does it look like? What does it mean when it's broken down into little chunks? And what is your blueprint for financial freedom? What are you willing to do to make sure that you are financially free? The truth is, many people that I have mentored and most people that I've met just hope and wish and pray that one day they will wake up and it's all going to be taken care of. Or they'll put the burden on to expecting other people to take care of it for them, like the government, their family, handouts, or even their partner. However, I've always had a belief that I need at least a blueprint. I know for a fact that I feel more self-worth for myself when I have some sort of blueprint and understanding about money and where it's going to come from, and not just have this expectation on my husband or my partner to go out there and make it happen. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong or that's right. However, even if you could be, for instance, a stay-at-home mum, I understand that, or not interested in the finances and your partner takes care of the finances, at least have a conversation, at least be involved, at least have a care factor. Because when you come together to talk about your financial destiny, it really has an impact on the relationship. And it's one thing that we do in my own relationship with my husband. We talk about our finances literally every day. Where are they? How are our investments going? What does it look like? What do we need to tweak? What are we looking forward to? What are we planning on? What is the blueprint? And we're constantly talking about it, constantly tweaking it. And we have an expectation. Like when you have a goal and a blueprint, you have more of an expectation. It makes sense. And we know the steps that we need to take along the pathway to implement and reach each little goal that gets us to an end in mind, or a chief aim, you might say. So I hope you're writing all this down, ladies. Just give me a sign here if you are copiously taking notes and you are loving these questions and it's starting to make sense for you, especially if you're in that boat where you feel money is lack, there's not enough, you have no idea where it's gone, and you've never even thought about these questions. Give me a sign, girls, if you're with me the whole way, because I'll keep talking. Now I want to move into the next thing, your personal habits, or your personal habits around money. So what do you want to be? You're an employer. Are you an employer? Are you self-employed, a business owner, or investor? What do you want to be? Who do you see yourself as? Here come all the love hearts. Keep going. I don't think I've ever spoken so fast on a podcast. I'll try. I have so many more questions and the time goes so quick. I just want to know, ladies, are you with me? Are you in the seat with me? Are you enjoying it? Should I keep going? We may go over an extra 4 or 5 minutes here, ladies, but this is such an important subject, and I really feel strongly about helping women and guys become financially free, understanding money, and how to think their way to financial freedom, and plan their way to financial freedom. So important. So what are the steps that you have in place for achieving financial freedom, and do you track your money? Now, most people get their money that comes into the household and it just goes. It just goes. And I, because I know I've been guilty of it myself when I was younger, I didn't track it. And I think it's very, very important that you track every single dollar. But before you track every dollar, there's a few things that you need to do, but I'm going to ask a couple of questions first. When the money comes in, do you save it or spend it? Write it down, save or spend. Do you lose it easily? Now, when I say lose it easily, next bright, shiny object comes up. Oh, the Joneses are doing that. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're trying to keep up with what society is expecting, the latest business that's up on Facebook and everyone's talking about it. And you're just putting your money anywhere and everywhere, hoping for a miracle. It could be Bitcoin. It could be stocks and bonds. It could be share trading. It could be property. It could be anything, but you've got no idea about it. You're just putting your money where it seems like everybody else is putting it, and you can't move it out quickly enough. Or maybe you might spend your money on depreciable objects, next biggest TV, because often as your income expands, so does your lifestyle. So these are just questions for you to think about. Next question, do you spend more than you earn? Now, you will know the answer to this if your credit cards are maxed out and they are out of control, where you can't even pay them down and you think, oh my God, 20% interest and I can't even pay it down, and each month it's going up and up, and each month you've got more bills at the end of the money than the money at the end of the bills. Are you spending more than you earn? And do you invest your money wisely or just speculate, which goes back to what I said a moment ago, just putting money where the masses are putting it without even thinking about it. And many of you know I've been guilty of this. I've had 14 different businesses, 33 different jobs, and I have been guilty of in the past just speculating, using my money without thinking about it, respecting it, and of course I have lost it. Now, next question, do you invest your money or do you allow other people to take care of that for you? Now, if you do allow other people to invest your money for you, it might be a financial advisor or somebody like that who's helping you invest into the markets or real estate or a business. Do you understand what's actually happening? Now, many of you heard on one of my other podcasts where I lost $1 million, Matt and I lost $1 million in the GFC. because we didn't understand the game. We took a risk that we couldn't afford to take. So the question is, are you taking risks with your money that you cannot afford to take? And if somebody else is managing your money, do you still understand the game behind the game? And are you educated around money? Next bunch of questions I am jumping into, ladies. I hope you are writing fast. You can see why I said you might need a glass of vodka on the rocks today or something. I don't think a cup of tea is good enough for today's podcast. What is your focus and your priority around money? Now, some of you may not have any focus or priority. That's okay. This is to help you become aware. This is part 2, remember, of how to ditch your negative vibes. And as you're writing here, I'd really like you to take note of how you are feeling as I am very quickly speaking, but feeling about the questions I am posing around your money matters. Quickly write that down in your journal. And if you're listening and you're new to this podcast, take a moment and ask yourself, oh my God, with what Amanda's saying, how am I actually feeling about this? Am I feeling enthusiastic, excited? I've got something to sink my teeth into, or am I feeling not so good about this? Feeling negative vibes, feeling guilt or shame around money. It's very important. Are you the sort of person that needs instant gratification? Or can you delay your self-gratification and invest into assets that make you money in the long term? Now, I'm not saying that anything's right and anything's wrong, but if you want to build long-term income streams, long-term financial freedom and wealth, independence, let's say, then you might need to consider about delaying instant gratification. Yes, I have been in that boat many times. But, I've learned some very hard lessons. I've been punched in the face, hit the dirt so many times that now I'm far more careful with our money. And, these days I choose to invest it into assets that will create income streams, not so much instant gratification. However, what's right for me may not be right for you. For me, my top 3 values are my health, business and lifestyle. So I do invest money into my health and my lifestyle because they are high on my values. So please don't think that I'm saying anything's right or wrong. You've just got to know what's right for you and your family. However, if you don't start investing money into assets that will end up paying you, because you won't be able to work for the rest of your life and probably to the age that you will live, which I'm hoping is in your hundreds, because that's how I'm going to live well into my hundreds, babe. Where's the money going to come from? The government probably won't be taking care of you. Someone or something needs to be taking care of you. So the next question, every dollar that you get into the household every week, who gets paid first? This is a really big one, and most people would never do this. Who gets paid first, you or the bills? It is imperative, and this is what the rich do that the poor do not do, poor thinking, middle class thinking. They pay all the bills and everybody else first, and then hopefully there'll be something left for them. The rich people and the wealthy people, the financially free people, pay themselves first. I always pay myself first because it increases my self-worth and my net worth, and then I pay the bills. You would be surprised at what happens when you elevate your self-worth and know that you are worthy of being paid before all of your bills. Take your money first and then divvy it up through the bills. And you've got to ask yourself, who's more important, you or the bills? Most people will say paying the bills. Girlfriends and boyfriends, you are more important than the bills. You will start to think differently. You will start to change your opinion about yourself and your money and your value. And you will start to see that there will be enough money after you've paid yourself first, to then move the money into the bills. And sometimes you may have to ring up and get a little extension on some of your bills, but it can be done because I have done it myself. People are loving this. Here come the hearts. Pay yourself first. Love it. Now, do you have a cushion of money in place? If the shit hits the fan and there's another GFC, God forbid, or you can't see something coming in your business, or just for whatever reason, Do you have a financial cushion that you have enough money to get you through while you're getting back on your feet? Most of you know from the 14 businesses I've had quite a few failures and then a few very successful businesses. But, a financial cushion. I remember once when I took 6 months off working to just get my head around a new concept and an idea that ended up turning into a multi-million dollar income business. But I needed that time to prepare myself mentally, emotionally, and get what I needed to get done for that particular business. We had a financial cushion in place that we could live the life that we were accustomed to while I was getting ready for that business. So that's the question. What is your financial cushion? How much have you got set aside for a maybe, not a rainy day, but a just in case day? And have you got enough money to retire? What is it going to take for you to retire? You need to understand that with inflation, I don't know, you might want to put 5% on that and think about how much money you spend each and every year as a family or as a partnership or as a single person. What is that going to look like for the rest of your life to the age that you want to live till? So I've got to do my equations on 120 years of age because I'm sticking around till I'm 120. Give me a thumbs up or a love heart if you're going to stick around with me and live the lifestyle of the dreams, hey? I mean, who wouldn't want to stick around for living a great lifestyle? So we've got to start doing these mathematics, these sums, and most people spend more time watching bloody TV than they do thinking about their future wealth, which then will affect their health, their vitality, their happiness, everything, their children, everything. Here come the love hearts. Yes. Okay. Because you want to know, ladies, and I want you to write this down in your journal. This is a Lifestyle by Design journal for a reason. The quality of life. What is the quality of life that you want to have and maintain until your day of passing? I do not want to retract from living my life by design. There's no way I want to do that. And so I think about what's it going to take? What is the yearly sum that I want coming into my bank account passively? And I'll put a little bit of work. It's not really passively, but without me physically having to turn up every day, that I can live until I'm 120 without having to put my hand out and hoping that the government or friends or family will take care of me. I mean, I don't think anybody would because I don't have any children. I've got some friends, but, I don't want to sit here feeling like I have to expect somebody else to take care of me as I mature, And again, I'm just putting these questions out there to get you thinking. And, if you haven't been listening to many of these podcasts, and this is a new one, you can see that some of these subjects I really get wound up and passionate about because they're not spoken enough about. So many people brush it under the carpet, but I'm not one to brush things under the carpet because I understand how money can change your life for the better in so many ways. And here's another question. What education do you have around money? Look at your library. How many books in your home do you have on wealth creation, business, money, financial freedom? Any? And, mindset around money. Any or none? It is true that most people have more books about cooking, what do you call those magazines? Woman's Day, New Idea, all the different magazines, the National Enquirer. They have more of those types of books than anything to do with wealth, and yet most people want to become financially independent. It doesn't make sense. And this is not to berate anyone, point the finger, but to hopefully wake you up and make you more aware. And I've always said this podcast it's raw and it's real and relatable because I've been in the shoes. I've been in the tracks for most of my life. And in my 30s, my very young 30s, I made a decision that I was going to turn my life around, start going to seminars, work harder on my mindset than anything else, including my job or career at that time, or businesses, and work on understanding how to make money for my future. And it's never too late. And I don't want anyone who's listening to this podcast beat yourself up Don't beat yourself up because it's never too late. Today is the first day of a brand new chapter, a new beginning, and you could pick up a book today just by listening to this podcast and answering the questions that I've posed for you. This is the first step to the rest of your life of understanding your money, where it goes, and how to feel good around it and ditch the negative vibes. Money is energy. Money is not evil. It's just an energy, and it is a exchange of value. Please write that down in your journal. Money is energy, and it is just an exchange for value. You give value to the marketplace, and you get money in exchange. Money is good if you use it and it doesn't use you. Okay, you must conquer your mindset, conquer money, and money can change not only your life, but many, many millions of other people's lives as well. Last few questions, ladies. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast so far. Is this one of your favorite subjects or what? Give me a sign if you love talking about wealth creation, because I know that there's wealth in your life in so many ways. You may not know it yet, but everybody is wealthy in their own way, and that depends on your own intrinsic values. But if you are suffering and worrying about money constantly, I can guarantee that I know that your health will be suffering. You would probably be feeling upset, grouchy, unhappy. Your children will be suffering. Your life will be a mess, because money truly does set you free and give you more choice and freedom. Look at all these love hearts. There is part 3 to this series, because next series I'm going to share with you how to turn your gifts and talents into ideas that you can take to the marketplace, bring value, and make money from them. So let me know if you want to hear about this. My sister says, I am loving this. Go 120 years. I am there. I love all this. Oh, this is so good. So many comments, ladies. It's so good to see you here. Thank you for joining me live on the podcast. I'm going to jump in. Please leave me comments. Let me know what you think about this podcast, a review, whatever. Questions, and I'm going to be in there answering them straight after this podcast. So we're nearly there, ladies. My next question, I've got a few more questions if that is okay. I know I've gone a little over time, but it's so important. How much money do you put aside for your self-education account each and every week or month that you get your money in? Now, many of you know my story. Many of you are new to this podcast and you don't even know who I am. You probably won't want to know me after today. Don't worry, I'm not crazy. Since leaving school, between my husband and myself, we have invested more than $640,000 now, $640,000 Australian dollars into self-education, seminars, coaches, mentors. Now, you need to ask yourself, how much money have you got put aside to invest into self-education? Because here's what I know, you will never get there alone. You need mentors, you need coaches, you need understanding on the topic that you want to master. Whether it's money, health, happiness, whatever, relationships, you need knowledge, because we don't get this knowledge at school and it doesn't come cheap. Cheap knowledge will give you cheap results. The thing I want to say about it too is that never ever invest into mentors who do not have a result that you want. So if you want a financial or a wealth coach, make sure they have a result. I don't care if it's a financial advisor or a coach. Ask them, what are their results? Are they living the life that you want? Do they have the money that you want to create in your life? I have been sitting in front of a financial advisor in a bank. We're in private banking, and they were trying to get us to invest our money into something that I didn't believe in, my husband didn't believe in. And when I asked the financial advisor how much money he had invested in the scheme, zero. Interesting, isn't it? $0. Next month, he wasn't even at the bank. So don't be shy, ladies. Don't ever be shy of asking people what their results are, especially if they're a coach or a mentor, because the only ones that can guide you with the right breadcrumbs are the ones that live it, not just freaking talk it. They've got to live it. And I'm talking about all areas of life. Now I'm really getting on a rampage, aren't I? First day back for a little while and I'm on a rampage. I love it. Okay, how much money, ladies, do you have in your fun account, your retirement account, your medical account, your wealth, fun, and I've already said fun, your wealth and freedom account, and your charity account? I'm going to say that one more time. How much money do you put in each month or each week? Your fun account, your retirement account, your medical, wealth, freedom, and charity. Now, when you get your money in and you pay yourself first, that's where you start to divvy it up. I don't care if it's jars or special accounts, whatever, know where your money goes and you start to feel good. It's kind of like planting a seed and you're watering it each week because you're adding to it and it's going to grow like a tree. They say money doesn't grow on trees. Bullshit. We're putting a seed in the ground and we're growing a money tree, okay? You can see that this is one of my favorite topics. We are going to grow a money tree, and that is the way to do it. Know where your money goes, respect it, appreciate it, change your language around it, and know that money changes lives for the better. It changes the planet. So many people go, oh, I want the planet to be better. You know, all these problems with global warming. Well, how are you going to pay for all this? Being broke, being poor is not going to help anyone. If you're broke mentally and emotionally and financially, how the freaking hell are you going to help anyone? You cannot help anyone with that mindset. You know, it's time to grow up and drop the old beliefs that don't serve us anymore. That's what I say to myself every day. A belief is just a thought that we have over and over again. If it's not serving you, dump it. You know my saying, ladies, dump it, delete it, or delegate it if it's not serving you. Rich thinking. This is what we want to talk about it. Rich thinking. Be, do, have. Write that down in your journal. It is so important. Rich people become who they need to become, do what they need to do to have the lifestyle that they want to live now. Remember, the lifestyle of your dreams is not the gift at the end. The lifestyle is a way of life now. Whereas poor people say, I'll have the money now. I'll do what I have to do after that. I can do anything I want to do. And then, you know, I'll become successful in life. That is not the way it works. You become mentally and emotionally. You've got to change this to have this. Okay? And that's why I say to you, anyone, it's not getting into the business vehicle that is going to make you successful. Getting into here, fixing this, you are your best investment before you get into a business vehicle because it's all in the mind. Now, in summary, ladies, I'm finally going to wrap this podcast up because I can literally go for hours on this topic. In summary, you are wealthy. You are more wealthy than you probably know or believe or feel that you deserve because you are wealthy in the areas of life that mostly matter to you. And I'm going to be talking about that in next week's podcast, the final in this series on how to ditch your negative vibes around money and how to turn your gifts and talents into ideas that can serve a community, serve other people so that there is fair exchange of money. You feel good about it, they feel good about it, and the world and you expand. Who's excited to hear about that? That's next week. And think about, you know, all the things that you're wonderful at. And I know a couple of my beautiful ladies inside our select community, one of you is just have this incredible gift for painting. Think about it. You know, and one of you plays the harp, plays beautiful music. I know you have so many gifts and talents. How can you package them? How can you convert your talents into a service and to be sold? Now, people have a weirdness around selling. Remember, selling is fair exchange of value. You are getting sold to all day long. You're selling people on your ideas. You're selling your partner. You're selling your children on your ideas. Selling is a gorgeous, clean, sexy word, and I'm going to be talking about that next week because I know from my own life and my own results that when I was in my 30s, I decided instead of just thinking about myself and being greedy and self-centered that I was going to turn my talents into service. I packaged them and took them to the market And through doing those businesses, there's only 3 businesses that have been successful for me, and they've all come down to serving other people, helping other people get what they want so that I got what I want. And I'm going to be talking about that in next week's podcast. So be sure to tune on in, ladies. And we're going to get you feeling good about making money, not evil. And that's what next week's 3rd podcast is around. The final part of that question is how to feel good about making money and not evil, because we are going to be focusing on service, not self-service, but service to others to make a change. So ladies, I really hope that you enjoyed this podcast. I have gone a little over time. Give me a sign if you found this incredibly valuable. I'd really appreciate if you would give me a review. This is live here for you ladies. Leave me a comment in the box below here today, ladies, because it's one of these subjects that really does pull out a lot of emotion in people. And I would really love your feedback and how you found this podcast. I spoke like Speedy Gonzales today, but I had a really good time. And, nothing warms my heart more than to see you ladies live your dreams, elevate your self-worth, elevate your life, and become the butterfly effect, affect your children, change your language, change your beliefs so that you can affect your children, affect your community, maybe your town, your city, your country, maybe on a global basis like I want to do. Nothing warms my heart more. But I would love your feedback, and I hope you've enjoyed this as I have. It is good to be home back in Australia. So ladies, that is it from me today. I appreciate you tuning in and love you all so much. Please leave me a comment on today's top heavy but also exciting topic on money. I love you all. And I will see you on the next podcast next week, but I'll be posting in the meantime. Bye for now. Okay, now as you would agree, we have covered so much today, so many questions to help you think about where you are and how to close that gap of where you want to get to with your financial destiny. This wraps up today's empowering podcast on how to overcome and ditch your negative vibes around money for good and feel great about making money, not evil. And until next week, I truly appreciate you tuning in to the G'day Gorgeous podcast that empowers women for life and helps you go from a life of frustration and misery to a life of wealth, health, and happiness. Please, if you like this episode and you got massive value from it, and I'm sure you would have, I'll be super grateful if you could just take 30 seconds and leave a review, which helps pay it forward to other people in the same boat as you. Share this with your friends and your family and those you care about who you know would greatly get value from these lessons. And until next week, we are going to be covering part 3, the final part next week on this podcast series on how to ditch your negative vibes around money. And I'm going to get into more strategies about how to turn the things that you love, your natural talents and gifts, into money-making strategies. Now, once more, if you want to find out about how I can help you achieve the life that you dream of, more about our books, our journals, and everything we get up to, including amazing success stories, head over right now to g'daygorgeous.com and you will see everything we get up to right there. I look forward to seeing you next week, gorgeous, and until then, have fun. Bye for now.